Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moments. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Soul Land 3 Legend of the Dragon King Part 18 based on novel. So let's start. Thank you, teacher. Gu nodded with a grin on her face. Wu Zhangkong's demeanor turned cold. You should join them in running. This is a compulsory physical education. Xie, you too. Xie pointed out with a bitter face, Teacher, weren't we freed from running due to the match? Wu Zhongkong answered coldly, Did you win? Xie's heart burned with rage as well as filled with depression. Wasn't this so? If one related his matches with Tang Wulin, then most of Tang Wulin's successes had some component of luck. However, he had exerted all his efforts and power into this match with Gu, and in the end, he had still lost. This girl's martial soul was too weird, wasn't it? It was even weirder than his own pair of dragon daggers. Gu smiled. She didn't try to avoid the training but ran towards the side of field and joined the rest of her classmates in their run. Xie let out a long sigh as he didn't have much choice but to join in the training as well. Gazing at their figures, Wu Zhangkong's steely expression cracked to reveal a rare smile. He turned and walked in the direction of the main academic building. Gu's steps were light and quick. As she reached Tang Wulin, she asked him with curiosity, Why did you wrap iron chains around your body? Tang Wulin replied, To build up my strength. The teacher gave me stricter requirements. You sure are formidable. Gu grinned. I'm really not that great. None of my elements are even that strong. It was just that I had controlled them well. All martial souls are the same. As long as you have enough soul power and you can fully comprehend as well as control your martial soul well, then it will bring you surprises. Tang Wulin's heart moved a little upon hearing Gu's thoughts. Control? Is your waist not tired at all, from all that standing and speaking? Who could have controlled their martial soul in as many different ways as yours? Xie's voice, with an air of nonchalance, sounded from Tang Wulin's other side. Without needing to wear the weighted clothes, and after taking a break, he felt rather relaxed when he ran now. Gu answered, That's because you haven't understood your own martial soul well enough. Xie was not convinced. How are you so sure that I don't understand fully? Gu replied, You were just defeated, need I explain more? Xie grieved and felt like smashing his head into the wall. Was he not a prodigy? What had happened to him after entering this academy? Even more so, this was in the worst class, yet he was humiliated repeatedly. Sun with rays. Wu Zhongkong walked into the school building. All of the classes were still being held, thus the corridors were empty. Walking up to the teaching office, he stopped abruptly and thought deeply before knocking on the door. Come in. Long Hongshu sounded. Zhongkong opened the door and entered. Long Hongshu was seated behind his work desk and sulking away. He was in a deep thought on how to manage his relationship with Wu Zhongkong. Today, this guy hadn't given him any face. However, if he were to try to get Wu Zhongkong expelled, that would be practically impossible. Even more so if he were to seek the president's agreement. How would he suggest to give punishments to Wu Zhongkong instead? Wu Zhongkong had already been sent to teach the worst class of Class 5, how much more severe a punishment could he be given? Could this be the cause of his attitude? Was that why Wu Zhongkong was acting like a dead mouse that feels no cold? Long Hongshu's expression turned into one of surprise when he realized that Wu Zhongkong just walked into the office. With a cool front, Long Hongshu asked, Teacher Wu, how may I help you? Wu Zhongkong walked up to his desk with a calm expression, then bowed towards Long Hongshu. Sorry, Director Long. I have come to apologize to you. Eyeing his bow, if one were to describe Long Hongshu's previous heart as full of displeasure, then it would have turned into complete shock in that split moment. What situation was this? The icily arrogant Prince Charming came to apologize? Had the sun risen from the west? Towards this teacher with such extreme characteristics, he had quite some knowledge of him. Since Wu Zhangkong's first day at the academy, he had been in the limelight. He had the looks, the strength, and the name of being the most powerful person in the academy. But he was as arrogant as he was unyielding, and he hadn't complied with the academy's teaching syllabus and acted solely in accordance to his own views. The female students within the academy had since given him the name of Prince Charming. This man even had the cheek to disregard the president. It was said that there was once a time when the president had sought to speak with Wu Zhongkong and he'd just left halfway into the president's conversation. However, he had a right to be arrogant since he possessed 6 soul rings despite being under 30 years old. Furthermore, he was said to be from that monstrous place, but had ended up here for unknown reason. That was why this man only had eyes at the top of his head. But why did this man, Wu Zhongkong, apologize to him? Did the graveyard just turn into a garden? Wu Zhongkong continued seriously, "What happened today is solely my fault. Thus, I am here to apologize. I hope to seek your forgiveness." Never mind. Long Hongshu didn't know if he was shocked by Wu Zhongkong, or that the apologies had mellowed the rage in him, but as he replied in haste, it revealed some weakness in his vigor. Wu Zhongkong nodded his head and continued, "Director Long, a new student has arrived in our class. She has just passed my test and fits well with our academy's conditions. In accordance to the academy's policies, if a potential student misses the date of admission, but has been accepted into the academy based on special conditions, they can only start from class 5. As such, I seek your permission in accepting her into the academy." As he spoke, he handed Long Hongshu the letter that Gu had provided him with. Long Hongshu took the letter. "Fine, I'll see to this." Wu Zhongkong replied, "That's it for now. I'll wait for your permission." It was only now that Long Hongshu finally regained his consciousness. He finally understood why Wu Zhongkong came to apologize. He'd done that so he could come and seek Long Hongshu's assistance. However, Long Hongshu was no longer in rage after receiving Wu Zhongkong's apologies. He didn't know why, but the icily arrogant Prince Charming's charm wasn't just effective on females. "Teacher Wu, I will still have to remind you to leave me with some dignity in front of the students," Long Hongshu voiced out gravely. "All right." Wu Zhongkong nodded his head. Long Hongshu didn't expect Wu Zhongkong to agree to him so easily. This icily arrogant Prince Charming held his head up high. It was also the reason why he was a man of his words. Since he'd agreed to it, he would see it to the end. Long Hongshu didn't expect their relationship to turn out well so quickly. It seemed that for now, having Wu Zhongkong in the intermediate academy wouldn't be a bad thing after all. Teacher Wu seemed to hold this student with high regards. As he thought, Long Hongshu opened the letter and read it in detail. This letter came from an elementary school in a small town, and looked like nothing special. Gu, female. Soul power, rank 15. Martial soul, elementalist. Elementalist? What kind of soul is that? She's a genius, only I'll be able to teach her appropriately. I hope that Director Long would provide me with your support, and no matter what happens in the future, please ensure that she stays in my class. Long Hongshu couldn't control himself anymore and asked, "Elementalist? What martial soul is this? Teacher Wu is well informed, surely you would have some knowledge of this." Wu Zhongkong replied, "I've just seen it. It's not a bad type of martial soul. You will see it in action during the upcoming class promotion tournament." Having heard Wu Zhongkong mention the class promotion match, Long Hongshu informed him, "Assigning Xie to your class was because I hoped for something to happen from your class during this match. After all, when the worst class increases its strength, it would stimulate the class on top of it to work harder. The existence of this class promotion tournament is purely based on taking advantage of the student's sense of honor in stimulating them to practice harder. Teacher Wu, have you already decided the representatives you are going to bring into this tournament?" "Yes, I've thought about it." When Wu Zhongkong returned to his class, the task of running laps had been completed. "Gather here." The students of Class 5 came to him in the middle of the field like an army of seasoned troops. "We will end today's morning training here. You dismissed. Gu, please stay." It finally ended. What bliss! Almost instantaneously, all the students made a dash for their dorms, They finally had time to rest. Because of the training, Gu's little face looked redder than before. I'm Wu Zhongkong, the teacher in charge of your class. This is the key to your dorm, and these are your uniform and your textbooks. From today onwards, you are officially a member of Class 5. Thank you, Teacher Wu. Gu collected the items from Wu Zhongkong. Ian, get some rest. We will continue our class in the afternoon. Xie pulled Tang Wulin quickly towards the dorm. Why are you so rushed? What have you got to say? Come out with it. The reason Xie rushed Tang Wulin towards their dorm a moment ago was obviously because he had something to say. Rest assured. I'm not asking for another fight. Xie rolled his eyes. This is because I have good intentions towards your well-being. Have you seen that Gu? Don't get too close to her. Tang Wulin asked, in doubt, how am I close to her? Weren't we being introduced to her just a few moments ago? Xie snorted, seeing that you were happily chatting with her just now. Have you been smitten by her? Teacher Wu had mentioned that the class promotion match would require 2 participants at least. Previously it was us, but now that she's here, do you think you will stand a chance against her? Tang Wulin shook his head, obviously not. I'll let her participate in it then. Xie's eyes widened, you an idiot? The class promotion tournament comes with a reward. Do you not want to eat a meal from the first window? When it came to food, Tang Wulin felt trapped. He hadn't eaten since this morning because of Mu Shi, and the morning training only made him even hungrier. I'm guessing that Tang Wulin and that Gu would participate in the match together. Zhu Shangxi walked in and had obviously overheard the conversation. Xie pointed at himself, you saying I'm not participating? Zhu Shangxi explained, in your 3 matches with Tang Wulin, you have lost to him twice and your cheeks were even swollen from the one of them. And now, you've lost to Gu today. Why would you think that the person eliminated would be Tang Wulin and not you? He was not too happy with Xie from the beginning, and this was too good of an opportunity to strike at him. Xie was shocked at Zhu Shangxi's comments, and as he thought back, he couldn't deny that these things never happen. His face contorted into a marvelous display. That's enough. Use your brains, will you? With Teacher Wu's character, he wouldn't go back on his word. Both of you will still be participating, and the person who won't be participating would be me. A minimum of 2 participants doesn't mean that there can only be 2 participants. It might even be 3. Yun Xiao was the last to enter the dorm, his expression filled with resignation and his gaze seemed to be asking where have all of your brains gone to? Tang Wulin rubbed his tummy. How many participants will be competing in the race is not important. What's important is that I'm hungry. I want to eat. Prior to the commencement of the afternoon class, another legend was being created at East Sea Academy. A certain glutton god had set yet another record. With regards to the weird glances from the students, Tang Wulin was used to it. Without paying them mind, he simply chewed in big mouthfuls while seated within the dining hall. It was mere coincidence, as the menu for lunch was large buns again. And the rest of Tang Wulin's dorm mates almost had their eyes bulged out as he took one large bun after another into his stomach. Xie spoke seriously, in the future, if I ever use eating as a wager to bet with you, I'm an idiot. Tang Wulin replied, other than this, I wouldn't bet anything else with you. There's no motivation. I can't finish this, you can have it. At this moment, a sound came to him from the side, and then came the appearance of a huge snowy white bun, which was then placed on Tang Wulin's plate. Tang Wulin raised his head and looked. Wasn't it Gu who gave him this bun? However, she had changed into the academy's uniform and looked similar to the students around her. Thank you. Tang Wulin nodded towards her. He always had the tendency of generating good feelings towards individuals who provided him with food. Gu nodded towards him and turned to leave. Zhu Shangxi moved towards Tang Wulin mysteriously. Wulin, from my view, hasn't she fallen for you? Today, after joining us in our class, she took the initiative to speak with you. And now, she's even given you a bun. It seems to me that she's smitten with you. Tang Wulin replied with a face of helplessness, "You are only 9, right? What kind of thoughts are in that brain of yours?" Zhu Shangxi continued, "During the last few days, I had thoughts on how to bash you up. But I don't anymore. It disappeared when you were hammering." Seeing that this guy was evading his questions, Tang Wulin returned to eating his buns in large bites. The afternoon class resumed with a physical training regimen that was even harsher than what they had in the morning. Where had the theory and knowledge class gone to? Wu Zhangkong's explanation was simple. With the current standard of the class, what was there to learn about theory and knowledge? When had the icily arrogant Prince Charming spoke been reasonable? Running was better in the sense that they could persevere. But when it switched to frog jumps, the field was filled with students of Class 5 lying on the ground in less than 30 minutes. A full day of physical training had these 9-year-olds crawling back to their dormitories. Tang Wulin, Xie Xie, and Ji Yu come find me after your dinner, Wu Zhongkong mentioned coolly as the class ended. Xie Xie only stood stably with assistance from Tang Wulin, his legs were still shivering. Ji Yu was slightly better, but her hands were supporting both knees. This girl who possessed the elementalist martial soul was a gift from heaven. During their physical training, she was visibly more relaxed than the rest, and that wasn't because her stamina was better, but as her martial soul was an elementalist, that allowed her to interact with the elements in the air, which watched over her as she trained. The wind elements allowed her to be light and quick, the light elements helped regain her energy, the fire elements replenished her power, the earth elements enriched her perseverance, the ice element enabled her cool-headedness. It seemed that every type of element was aiding her with the training. "Why are you here this late at night?" After Xie Xie's feud with Tang Wulin had turned into friendship, his cool exterior had somewhat diminished. His whole person had changed as well, and he appeared more genuine. The air of a rich young master slowly disappeared. It was fortunate that Wu Zhongkong was their teacher and had his way with the class. If not, he wouldn't have been able to persevere in the physical training class. "Teacher is doing that for our own good." Tang Wulin supported Xie Xie. An hour before dinner, most of the students had fallen into deep sleep. Although Tang Wulin was tired, he persisted and tried to meditate. In these 2 days, after he changed his method of meditation, he felt an improvement and increased efficiency of his physical recovery. A clumsy bird flies early, those with a weak martial soul should work harder in cultivating. There were even classes in the evening. How would Tang Wulin be able to start forging his Sky Dragon iron? This was a problem. He could only forge the metal during midnight then, but that won't do. After completing this task, he would stop accepting other tasks, at least for the time being. After dinner, Tang Wulin was practically dragging Xie Xie to the field. Xie Xie was on the verge of walking away. As they reached the venue, Ji Yu was already there, and she seemed rejuvenated as well. It was already evening, and the last rays of sunlight had painted the sky in a fiery red color. The reflected light had accentuated Ji Yu's fine features. Wu Zhongkong had changed into a black training suit and was wearing a stern expression. Not far away, girls from the advanced academy crowded in 2s and 3s, their gazes were fixated on Wu Zhongkong. "Come with me, you 3. As he saw the 2 of them moving towards him, Wu Zhongkong turned and moved off. The trio followed behind Wu Zhongkong into the depths of the academy. Wu Zhongkong brought them with him to the back of the academy and into an indoor training ground. This was what he requested from Long Hongshu during their meeting earlier that day. By expressing his support to Long Hongshu's work, and by promising to not create trouble for this director in the teaching office, Long Hongshu had returned his support by giving his approval to Wu Zhongkong's requests. Similarly, as a director in the teaching office, he was with the director of the advanced department. Wu Zhongkong had gotten into an intense argument with the director of the advanced department, to the point where he had even broken one of the director's legs. This was how he had been demoted to the intermediate academy. And if he wanted to build a good relationship with Teacher Wu, it would help him earn many bonuses from the president. What selfish motives Long Hongshu had wasn't important to Wu Zhongkong as long as his objectives were reached. If not for Ji Yu, he wouldn't have compromised so easily with Long Hongshu, and the apologies wouldn't have even existed. However, as he came to the intermediate academy in this instance, he had met with two students who deeply affected him. And if they were well trained, they would possess the competency necessary to enter that place. As for the other student, it was a rather peculiar case. While that student interested him, this student could barely compare to the brilliance of the other two. This was the current situation for the three. The training ground was circular and there were soul barriers in it. These were training areas for students with higher levels. Of course, if one's soul power has reached a certain rank, places like the fields would have been damaged easily. Wu Zhongkong brought the three into the middle of the building. From today onwards, you will all have to train with me at night. This is in preparation for the class promotion tournament in 3 months. As he gone to this point, his gaze were first rested on Tang Wulin. Tang Wulin, your martial soul is blue-silver grass. Previously, you were selected for the class promotion tournament because I had no other choice. Even though Gu is here now, and having already seen her talent and power, whatever I said before won't change. But I hope that you will show me you are capable of representing Class 5 in this match with your hard work. However, if after 3 months you fail to reach my requirements, I will be sending these two to participate in the match without you. Yes. Although Xie had reminded him earlier, there was still a certain dullness inside Tang Wulin. Talent had always been a sore spot for Tang Wulin. Teacher Wu. I'm not participating in this match. Gu suddenly said right at this moment. Ian. Wu Zhongkong looked towards her. Gu spoke mildly, I'm a new transfer student, and I don't want to cause any implications to others. So, please take back your decision for me to participate in the match. Wu Zhongkong was shocked. Ever since he became a soul master, he had been proud son of the heavens, even after coming to East Sea Academy with resignation. Not because he had been threatened, but because everyone else was too miserable. However, when this young lady spoke out, he realized that he couldn't do anything to her. He valued Xie's twin martial souls highly, but in comparison to Gu's elementalist, Xie's was at a level lower. Tang Wulin, too, hadn't thought that Gu would have done that for him and felt grateful towards her. Thanks, Gu. However, Teacher Wu's right. This will affect the honor of our class. And naturally, the strongest would compete. But please rest assured, I'll work hard as well. The number of participants doesn't stop at 2. If I train and strengthen myself sufficiently during these 3 months, I think teacher will allow me to compete. Wu Zhongkong was shocked as he looked towards Tang Wulin. The emotional intelligence of this kid was exceptional. His words not only showed his willingness to work hard, but had also relieved himself from a possible tense position. This hadn't only gave Wu Zhongkong a good impression of him, but also added some bonus points to it. Teacher, what are we going to do in this special training session? It can't just be more physical training, can it? Wu Zhongkong answered, obviously not. Whatever training you are going through, there will only be one objective, and that is to increase your power. Power can be classified into 2 categories, hard power and soft power. From my point of view, all power originates from actual combat. Thus, your special training will include actual combat. We will use that to arouse your own potential, and also use it to give you combat experience. I'll brief all of you on the important pointers, and then you'll start. Xie, the speed you have at this level is sufficient. However, your physical fitness is too weak and you don't have the stamina for long battles. Thus, when battling, you have to be aware and control your physical strength. Your second martial soul is good at catching people off guard, but don't release it to your liking. You must only use it when an opportunity presents itself. Gu, I have observed your elementalist martial soul today. Though I didn't want to say this, but with your current cultivation, your control of each element is pretty good. Tomorrow, I'll bring all 3 of you to get your spiritual power examined. Tang Wulin spoke, Teacher, I've done a spiritual power examination before. Wu Zhongkong broke him off coolly, I only believe what I see. He turned towards Gu and said, in the future, I hope that you will continue to experiment with fusing different elements. I've been carefully reviewing your martial soul all day, and I've concluded that the elementalist martial soul is compatible with every element, but because none of these elements can be upgraded with a soul ring, they will never become powerful. You seem to have complete control of the different elements, which is a huge advantage in the beginning. However, as you cultivate to a higher level in the future, you will discover that you won't have any powerful soul skills as a foundation. The soul rings that you obtain in the future will only be able to increase your control over the elements and the strength of your soul power. Under these circumstances, there is only one path to power for you. You need to be able to control more elements. This is an unprecedented path. However, when I saw you combine the earth and ice elements to trap Xie today, I realized that if you were able to combine different elements and control their strength, you'll definitely be able to stand at the peak of the world in the future. This evaluation of Wu Zhangkong's wasn't spoken lightly. Clearly, he valued Gu highly. Yes. Thank you, teacher. Gu nodded. Wu Zhongkong finally turned to Tang Wulin. As for you, the first thing you need to do is to gain more control over your martial soul. I'm going to be honest with you, even though your blue-silver grass is a variant martial soul, it's still blue-silver grass. Its tenacity is both a blessing and a curse for you. Unless you can control it perfectly, then it can't be called control at all. Therefore, you should develop yourself as a control system battle soul master. There's also that pair of hammers you used before. Your strength is a gift, and it's still very useful at this level. In the future, you can try to attack by combining your hammers with your blue-silver grass. Yes. Tang Wulin responded with only one word. With that being said, we'll begin the special training now, Wu Zhongkong said indifferently. When Xie heard that it wasn't physical training, but rather combat training, he immediately became much more spirited. He said eagerly, Teacher Wu, how are we being matched up? Wu Zhongkong answered, You guys won't be going one after another. Instead, all three of you will battle together. Your opponent is me. Tang Wulin, Xie, and Gu's expressions immediately stiffened. A light flashed in Wu Zhongkong's empty hands as a wooden sword appeared. I'm not going to use my soul power or any soul skills, but even so, you three must give me your all. Begin. As he said this, he had already shot forward with his wooden sword, quickly approaching Xie. Xie reacted with lightning speed and rapidly fell back. However, the sword was like a leech that was difficult to shake off. Even though his retreating speed was very quick, the wooden sword was quicker. Woo-woo! A deep muffled noise broke through the air. Tang Wulin had made his move. He had taken Wu Zhangkong's words to heart and immediately implemented his suggestion. The 1,000 refined tungsten hammer was flown out, smashing straight towards Wu Zhongkong. At the end of the handle, however, was a strand of blue-silver grass that connected it to Tang Wulin. He knew that it would be a futile attempt to bind Wu Zhongkong directly with his blue-silver grass. At Wu Zhangkong's level of soul power, it would only take a moment for him to break free. When that happened, Tang Wulin's soul power would be consumed to near exhaustion too, and he would no longer be able to use his blue-silver grass. As for the 1,000 refined tungsten hammer that he had sent flying, Wu Zhongkong didn't even put them in his eyes, and continued forward with his sword. The tungsten hammers simply flew behind him. Tang Wulin made a face when his strike missed. A cool breeze brushed up from beside him, pushing Xie out of the way and causing Wu Zhangkong's sword to meet nothing but air. Wu Zhongkong pursued, but the ground beneath his feet quickly grew soft and an icicle flew towards the ground. Gu was using the same elemental combination technique as before. Wu Zhongkong revealed a calm smile. With a flick of his wrist, the wooden sword gracefully met the icicle, easily shattering it. At the same time, he jumped out of the mud. Woo-woo! Tang Wulin's 1,000 refined tungsten hammers arrived once again. This time, however, it wasn't just a single hammer, but rather, both of them were present. With both hammers in use, their attack range was even greater. Wu Zhangkong's wooden sword moved exactly to his will and met with the tungsten hammers, causing them to both stop in mid-air and immediately drop to the ground. A flash of shock colored Wu Zhangkong's eyes. This little guy's strength is simply tyrannical. A fireball showed up at Wu Zhangkong's side. Once again, Ji Yu's attack had appeared at just the right moment. Wu Zhangkong's weapon was a wooden sword, so using fire to burn it was definitely the best choice. The wooden sword drew a circle in the air, causing a bizarre stream of air to appear. The fireball suddenly strayed from its path and soared above Wu Zhangkong, heading straight for Xie Xie instead. Xie Xie's light dragon dagger slashed at the fireball, breaking it into embers. He curled his body in mid-air as he was still within range of Wu Zhangkong. Then his left hand made a slight movement and an invisible blade appeared as he thrust out with his light dragon dagger. Tang Wulin's 1,000 refined tungsten hammers shot towards Wu Zhangkong once again, bombarding Wu Zhangkong. 3 fireballs also shot out right at that moment. Tang Wulin, Xie Xie, and Ji Yu had synchronized their attacks. Unfortunately, their opponent was simply too powerful. The wooden sword in Wu Zhangkong's hands easily transformed into numerous sword silhouettes. The 2 hammers were deflected while Xie Xie was struck in the shoulder and sent flying directly into the path of the 3 fireballs. If it wasn't for his courage, along with his light dragon dagger and shadow dragon dagger, he feared that he would have been seriously wounded. Wu Zhangkong dropped from the sky. This time, his target was Tang Wulin. The wooden sword thrust towards Tang Wulin. Tang Wulin didn't retreat. Xie Xie was still in a daze and wouldn't be able to help him, and Ji Yu had been buried under Xie Xie, which made her unable to support him. This situation had been meticulously manufactured by Wu Zhangkong in order to isolate him. True combat would excite a student's potential. This was exactly what he did back at the Advanced Academy. When faced with immense pressure, a student's potential would be revealed by how they reacted. At this crucial moment, Tang Wulin didn't shrink back. Instead, he launched his blue-silver grass and used bind on Wu Zhangkong. Wu Zhangkong simply struggled a bit and broke free of Tang Wulin's blue-silver grass, draining him of his soul power. There hadn't even been enough time for Tang Wulin to withdraw his hammers which he had previously sent flying. With the wooden sword striking towards his chest, Tang Wulin's expression turned to one of extreme focus. He still remembered the battle he had fought with Xie Xie before. It was only because he treated Xie Xie as metal that he had been able to reach such a level and persisted for so long. At this moment, he will once again treat Wu Zhangkong like metal. He quickly entered an ethereal state that was solely focused on forging. 2 grey lights simultaneously flashed. A hammer appeared in his right hand, obstructing the wooden sword, while the hammer that appeared in his left hand smashed towards Wu Zhangkong. Ding! The wooden sword struck the hammer, issuing forth a crisp metallic note. Tang Wulin only felt a tremendous force being transmitted as the 1,000 refined heavy silver hammer flew into his stomach from the recoil, knocking him back. This video will end here.